It's Big Gun, Brian Petrie coming weekly Wednesday takes. Not a gamble when I ramble. On my slime balls we parlay. We just stick to the money. The tickets no funny. The chalk boys get in the bag. Nothing in stage, stop in the cage. Needed a chin and he lay on the mat. It's Wednesday takes, making Wednesday great. UFC and MMA. Big Gun Brian, no denying where he be and what he say. Word of my cappers, we speak facts from start to finish. What's the weight? The value boys, we showing love. CGI dub is Wednesday takes.
Oh, Wednesday takes, baby. What's up with the what's up? Listen, big show for you today. Gonna be a little bit longer. You probably already knew that. When you clicked on the video, you saw how long it was. Your boy's rushing today. Work was long. Squeezing this in. Got to take the old moms to a doctor's appointment. Back to edit. Whew, rushing. Just copped out of the shower. Haven't eaten anything all the day. I'm just caffeined up. But boys, I'm excited to do the show. I'm excited. You know what I mean? I haven't done a recap show in a while because I'm just so geared up to do Wednesday takes. And it's a fun fucking show to do, man. So the recap show, we're going to cover the recap a little bit. But before I do that, I want to thank Yanni the Greek, Nickal, James Lynch over at the Gambler's Perspective. Check it out. Whoa. I'm not going to edit that out. That was a fucking real deal burp. That's what we do here, man. I'm authentic. It was gross. No, listen, the Gambler's Perspective on UFC Fight Pass. The Yanni the Greek, Nickal, they do the UFC on the Line show with Brendan Fitzgerald. That's in studio. This one's their own podcast. They invited me on. I think it was episode number 10. Lucky number 10, baby. Lucky number 10. Amazing. Little 10-minute spot. Kind of, they asked me how I, got my start, yada, yada. And then I gave out the slime ball early. So go check that out. Slime ball's going to be out tomorrow for me, but I gave it out early. Gave some of my best picks, best bets for this weekend. Super nice guy. It was funny because Yanni, I remember seeing him for the first time. This guy's a pro's pro. Like, he makes a living off gambling. He's a professional gambler, and he bets on everything, right? Been in the game forever. And it's funny because I remember seeing him the first time I saw him. I think I saw him on like a Fox News thing, but then like obviously the Contender Series and whatnot. And he stands out. He's got the big teeth, white teeth, white as the fucking driven snow, baby. And then he's got the voice and everything. And when you first get him, you're like, whoa, what, let me adjust my TV. But he's like the nicest guy in the world, all accounts. Everyone that's met him is a nice guy. I chatted up with him and Nick. Nick is an Ohio boy. Cincinnati wears Bengals. I fucking love it. It was awesome. It was an awesome quick 10 minutes. James Lynch, by the way, who produces that show, go follow him or subscribe to him, on YouTube. I mean, he has more subscribers than I do. But listen, this guy is Pro's pro. His video, his audio is always perfect. He's got a dope studio setup behind him. I'm super jealous. Super nice guy. He has his own channel where he does the pros picks. I'm sure you've seen him. He's also got some how-tos, like how to be a media member, how to start. And it really helped me out early on, and it still helps me out now. Early on when I first started a podcast, I would watch his YouTubes over and over again. But this class act. So go over to Fight Pass, watch the Gambler's Perspective. I am the guest. I give out the slime ball parlay if you want a little bit early. But check those guys out. Again, they are the fucking coolest. All right. Speaking about gambling, recap for UFC 277. Brutal, boys. Brutal, boys. I got smoked. Slimeball loses again. We're 10-14 on the year. I hate that number. I went 1-3 on my locks. My mortal lock lost. Selmsberger got beat up by Morono. Showed incredible heart, but man, that was my lock of the century. I had a lot of money on Selmsberger. Obviously, I had him in a parlay. Had him by knockout as well. Completely whiffed on that. What one did I get right? It doesn't matter. But anyway, 1-3 on my locks. It's pathetic. 6-7 on my picks, so under 500. And just an awful night, off night for your boy. Our little competition between Timbo, Christian, and I. Timbo is now the champ. Christian finally lost. And I came in third. Hang on. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I was losing, and then I battled back, and it came down to Kai and Pena because I had the underdogs and Timbo had the opposite. Obviously, that didn't happen. I had Kai in the same game parlay, down multiple units. This one hurts. Back-to-back weeks where I feel like I'm ice cold. I feel like I can't pick a winner right now. But I'm gonna rebound this weekend, boys. It's all confidence. It's all moxie. Gotta rebound now. So I don't want to talk about it, Sirens going off first Wednesday of the month. Didn't want to talk about it, but I feel like I have to address it. I've addressed it a million times. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but this is the show since the last I've seen you, because I released the last episode right when all this was going down. And so it's time to address it here, because this is where it started. So Helwani 10-7 me, right? Is that what the kids say? The Helwani 10-7 me? So listen, I made my first video about Ariel Helwani, and I made a crucial mistake. I did something that, I shouldn't have never done. And it's hard because I had some anxiety that night that everything was coming down, because I know better. I don't care about what people say or the fact that Helwani and I were going at it. I love that shit. And people call me liar. There was a couple fat jokes in there. None of that bothered me, right? What bothers me is I let myself down, because I'm a kind of guy that doesn't like to personal attack people. I feel like if you personal attack somebody, basically in an opinionated argument, if you personally attack somebody, you lose, because that means you run out of shit to bring your point to light, right? If you're having a debate with somebody, an argument with somebody, and all of a sudden you just start insulting them, you lose, in my opinion. And that's my world. And you'll never really see me do that. And I kind of led with a personal attack on Helwani, and I don't have the proof. That's just reality of it. The three things that I disagree about with Helwani, the three things why I do not like him, I kept in the video. I edited out the email because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add to it. And I personally attacked him and questioned his character, because he, 12 years ago, he was mean to me. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean he's a bad person. That should have never led with that. And I'm very apologetic. And listen, Ariel Helwani and I are never going to see eye to eye. I still have several problems with him, with his anti-UFC agenda and whatnot. But I should have never personally attacked him the way I did. And I know it was like mild. It wasn't like I insulted him too much. But I did call the guy out about an email 12 years ago where I don't have proof, right? And that's the honest to God truth. Trust me, I emailed Google. I tried to find this thing. I have two buddies who read the email, who messaged me. He was like, man, I remember reading that. Maybe you emailed it to me, And this is 12 years ago. This is several emails ago. I don't have this email anymore. If I had all the emails I had, back in Hotmail days, I would have so many pictures of boobs from girls in high school. I just don't have access to it. And that's the God's honest truth. And regardless if I had proof, didn't have proof, whatever, I should have never led with that, because it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. It wasn't the reasons why I disliked him. I even said in the video, even after this bad exchange with him, I still liked him. It wasn't until the Brock stuff where I started questioning him a little bit and whatever. And then now we're at now. But Helwani and I, Helwani came at me, came in my throat. He shared the two emails, the introductory emails, and he's got two more than I got. That's for sure. And I didn't want to bring it up. I'm not going to harp on it or whatever. But listen, I've tried to recover the email, but I keep a Gmail was not helpful, essentially, right? The Gmail chat, whatever, just was not helpful. But even if I recovered it, even if I had it, I would never show it, because it just doesn't matter. It is what it is. Call me a liar. Call me what you want. That's fine. I can live with that, because I made the mistake of going personal when I shouldn't have. I personally attacked them, and I should not have done that. I should have kept it to my opinions, because I'm a type of person that I can disagree with you on things and still get along. We can have a friendly debate and we can get along. I'm not going to raise my temper or get mad at you because we don't see eye to eye. I love that shit. Like, a lot of my friends and I have different opinions, and we don't see eye to eye, and it's a friendly debate. And I like that shit. I live for that shit. And a lot of guys on Twitter came at me. Helwani's got 1 million followers, so I got blasted by a lot. And some of them were very reasonable. We had discussions, and it was like, just like you disagree with me. There was a lot of people that, I addressed this on the Pick'em podcast, and I've apologized on Twitter. But again, this is where it all started. So I want to lead with this a little bit. Not going to spend too much time on it. But again, I made the mistake. I won't do that again. I won't personally attack him again. I don't see eye to eye with Helwani. And if he says or does anything I disagree with, I'm going to bring it up. I'm not going to be afraid to go after him because of what happened. You know what I mean? This time, you can't prove an opinion. You know what I mean? I shouldn't lead with emails when I don't have the fucking proof. You know what I mean? That's why OJ walked free. We didn't have the goddamn proof. But some of you guys came at me hard on Twitter. It's funny. There's like 3 of you, and I don't remember the names. 3 Twitter handles that followed me and were liking like every post of mine ever since, because they're fans of Anik and Florian, and they saw me from that, so they started following me, which I was very appreciative. And the minute this Helwani stuff, because that was another thing. Hold on, I'm bouncing all around. I was called a clout chaser, right? I'm an old man. I'm 36 tomorrow. Happy birthday, me. I was like, clout chaser. I lost followers. I lost subs. I'm not trying to. In the wildest dreams, of course, when I made that video, I wanted Helwani to see it, and he did. That's what I wanted. I wanted to have a debate with the guy because he's the biggest name in the business. Like, let's talk about some of the things I have issues with, right? And I never thought in a million years I'd get the opportunity because he's huge and I'm a nobody. But he responded and we had an opportunity. I just went about it the wrong way. But there were 3 people who have liked a lot of my posts and joined, the big gun bandwagon for Anik and Florian that straight turned on me. There's just one guy who was like, he literally liked every post and would comment and stuff. And then Helwani was coming at me and he goes, yeah, because he's a damn liar. I'm like, bro, you were asking me a month ago to follow you. Now you hate my guts. So there was a lot of that, which not a lot. There was 3 of them, which was very funny because it's like, Helwani's got he's got a fucking army, this guy, right? And rightfully so. He's been in the game forever. He's been doing his thing. And then, again, we had some friendly debates. The last thing I'll end with is really funny. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was coming at me about the Helwani stuff, and it was very respectful. We were literally tweeting back and forth. And I had to feed my kids. So I was like, buddy, I can't, I'm responding right when I get the notification. He's doing the same. And he was like, hey, I respect you having this debate with me. Because again, like I'm not, that's what I want. That's what I'm doing the show. I'm not always right. I'm ready to defend my stance. And maybe I am wrong. Maybe you can shed some light on why I am wrong. My dog's going crazy. Or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I'm not right. This is what's so great about it. We're not arguing about healthcare or politics or something meaningful. It's fucking mixed martial arts, guys. Okay? It's about fighting. We're allowed to have opinions. We're allowed to have opinions that are maybe you don't seem right. Let's not take it too seriously, right? But this guy and I were having a friendly chat about whatever, back and forth via Twitter. And I said, you know what? I got to feed my kids, but you know what? I really think you would like my shit, man. You know what I mean? Like we're having a good back and forth here. You're making a point. I'm making a point. Neither of us are really budging. You should check my show out, right? Trying to get a new fan. And he said, nah, I don't like you. I checked you out, Anik and Florian. Too long-winded. Fair enough. Hey, fair enough. He gave me a shot. Didn't like what he saw. Fair enough. But that's the last time I'm going to address it. I do want to issue an apology because, and I edited out the video, kept the 3 things that I dislike about him, which I still stand by. But the email stuff should never have been brought up. Personal attacks are not what I'm about. I felt terrible doing that because, I already said it, already done it. I couldn't take it back. And I just was like, oh my God, what an idiot me. So, so there's that. And then Dana White, let's move on here. Enough of the Helwani stuff. I don't want to be a clout chaser. Didn't put him in the title. Didn't put him in the thumbnail. So, we're not trying to get clicks or whatever. Everyone's trying to get clicks. That's just not just the world we live in. But, so I was going to have a whole thing where I got called so many things and people had so many things in my mentions and I was going to address all of them, but whatever. People call me what you want. It's fine. I explain myself here. I explain myself on my pick'em. I explain myself on Twitter. One guy said, why doesn't he do on Anik and Florian? No one watches his show. Well, Helwani watched my show because that's where he got it from. Anik and Florian have nothing to do with this. And then when Ariel tagged John Anik and Kenny, I was like, oh my God, because I didn't want them to bring into my mess. But anyway, enough is enough. Dana White's Contender Series. My dog needs to shut the fuck up. This fucking dog. He barks at leaves. Dana White's Contender Series last night. Oh my gosh, completely different world from last week. Amazing fights. All 5 winners got signed. The guy that stood out the most to me, I think, was maybe Salvatore, who trains with the He-Bosses. He looked amazing. He fought a really tough guy, big underdog. Chris Duncan, he's a tough, durable Scottish guy. Scottish. Yeah, real tough, durable Scottish guy. Hits like a truck. And I like Charlie Campbell. I think Charlie Campbell's a legit dude. That was a really fun fight. But I just don't know if Chris Duncan's going to have a really high ceiling because he's in a really tough weight class. But incredible performance by him. The big heavyweight that was signed with the Reds, Costa, I forget his last name already. He's throwing those shots like a baseball, man. Like he beat up that Brazilian dude pretty good. The Brazilian guy trained with Carlos Felipe, right? Carlos Felipe. And, and fucking sure enough, he looked exactly like Carlos Felipe and got pieced up. What is he still barking for? How many leaves are out there? Anyway, amazing performance, amazing stuff last night. The first fight from Billy Golf. There's a lot of golfs in Cincinnati. There's a ton of them. And I was like, is this guy related to one? I mean, everyone's related to everyone if your last name's Golf. He's from Mississippi. Could be related. I don't know. But he looked amazing. Got dropped hard with the head kick, came back. Tough stuff. But yeah, Salvatore looked amazing in that 125-pound fight. Flyweights usually don't bring it like that. The kid's got personality. He's got style, exciting, durability, power. And he was a huge underdog, and he looked fantastic in that fight. And yeah, it was great. So Dana White Contender Series, 10 out of 10. That's a 10. 10 out of 10. All right, topic 1 of this Wednesday Takes. We're not doing a fight announcements because there wasn't too many. Barboza Topuria got booked, but other than that, so there's one topic. We're going to get to UFC Gatekeepers, top 5 gatekeepers in the UFC or, in history, right? Maybe an active, right? No spoiler. Quick takes. We're going to do the Twitter questions of trivia that you guys hit me up with. And then we're going to end with a story time with it. People seem to enjoy the story time. So I gotta go one today. All right. So topic 1, aftermath of UFC 277. What would I do? Everyone's screaming from the rooftops. Brian, what would you do? What would you fight? I'm not really good at it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I'm not the best at matchmaking. I'm not the best at it. There's a guy on Twitter. I used to follow him. I can't remember his name. He was really good at setting out, excuse me, who he thought should be matched up with who. God, I wish I remember his name. Anyway, so I'm going to go over some of the kind of highlights. I'm not going to go over the entire card. I'm going to go over a lot of the winners, the standouts, who they should fight. So obviously, Nunes Pena was unbelievable. Pena showed incredible heart. Nunes switching to southpaw, leading with the right hand. Gorgeous. I doubted the fact that she left American Top Team and she got a new striking coach. I love the adjustment there. And Pena is as tough as can be. I didn't like Nunes coming out going, I could have finished her. I wanted to go 5 rounds. But I don't. I mean, if you could finish somebody, you'd finish them. I think Nunes didn't want to rush because Pena is durable. And there was a couple times where she dropped her, she didn't fall to the ground, and then eventually start taking her to the ground. And Pena is crafty in the ground, but I don't like that statement after such an incredible fight between these two warriors. But obviously, there's a lot of talk about maybe Nunes, Shevchenko 3. Sure, Shevchenko's running out of people to fight, but Nunes, I think you got to run Pena back, depending how long it is. Nunes said she wanted to take a break, right? This was 7 months ago. She lost this fight. She had some injuries, healed up, jumped right in the camp, fought Pena again, big-time main event. Let's heal up a little bit. Well, was on the Ultimate Fighter as well, which took some time away. Let's heal up. Let's take some time off. Maybe beginning of the next year, January, we can do it. Pena obviously's got some superficial damage on her head and whatnot. Got to heal up herself. But Pena Nunes 3 is clear. Put it on a January card. Book it now. Wouldn't mind Shevchenko sliding in there somewhere against Nunes or even Pena, but let her fight a couple more times. She's got to fight Manafero. When Manafero makes it her way, that French badass bitch, when she makes her way to Valentina, that's going to be good, right? That's what I want to see. Amanda's fighting, I think, coming up here shortly. A couple more wins. I think she's going to get Shevchenko. So let's Shevchenko fight her, then maybe we'll get a Nunes 3. But I think it's Nunes Pena 3 clear as day. Moreno, Brandon Moreno looked amazing as Kai Kara France. Body kick was beautiful. James Krause in the corner. Finally got a world champion. Not finally got a world champion. Got a world champion. He's going to have multiple world champions, I'm sure. But got his world champion here. And again, I think James Krause, I doubted the camp moving. I want to say doubt. I thought it was a little strange, but it was in the works for a little bit. Brandon Moreno didn't really gel with his head coach too much. And I understand that. There's loyalty can go so far, but if you're not gelling with him and you don't feel comfortable with him, you kind of got to move on. And James Krause is so good in the corner. His corner work is great. It's detailed. It's fantastic. And he really dialed in Brandon Moreno for that fight. You know what I mean? And the body kick was amazing. And Kai looked he just looked a little stuck. He didn't look himself in there. I don't know if the pressure got to him or if it was just Moreno looked on. because Moreno definitely was on, switched his stance up a little bit, instead of going kind of like, he used to do kind of like this, right? And now he's kind of long because he's kind of long for the division. And it was just brilliant game planning. And so I think Moreno, believe it or not, I know they got Figgy in there. Figgy's got some contract issues. He looked heavy too. Can he make 125? A lot of stuff. A 4-fight is something that people are going to be clamoring for. But if he can't knock out those negotiations, if he's overpricing himself, then you got a guy in Pantoja, that fucking dog who dog walked Alex Perez. He's ready to go. Pantoja came out, wasn't fucking around. He wanted to make a statement. And I love that he hopped on Perez early, who hasn't fought in 2 years, who had a bunch of canceled fights. His timing is going to be a little rough. Let's not even get this guy's timing down. Let's just bum rush him. I'm better everywhere. And he fucking proved it. Pantoja's got head-to-head wins over Moreno. Once in the Contenders and once in the UFC. So Pantoja, I think, is the guy. Go in December if you want to turn around quick. If not, Figgy 4-fight. But listen, if he prices himself out, it is what it is. There's not many 4-fight trilogy. It's not a trilogy. What would it be called? Tell me what it'd be called in the comments. I'm too dumb to know what a 4-fight would be. If it's, quads, a quadrily, a franchise. Because I know after a couple movies, it's called Anyway, I can go down that road all day. But anyway, Figgy 4-fight, obviously that's probably be next, but I want to see that dog Pantoja in there. That got some heat over Moreno, and I'd be really curious to see that line, because obviously Brandon Moreno has gotten way better since the Ultimate Fighter, and way better since they fought in the UFC, so I would love that. But Pantoja is just in that pocket right now, boys. He's feeling himself. All right, Sergey Pavlovich, obviously there's talks about maybe running it back with Derek Lewis because it was an early stoppage. I agree. Was an early stoppage. Derek Lewis is a vet. Heavyweights, I get it. Heavyweights, you got to give just such a little short error because they're so big and powerful and whatever. But Pavlovich, he looked aggressive. He wasn't afraid of Lewis. Thought he was going to try to take it down a lot earlier. It was a quick fight, but his punches looked good. He connected on Lewis's jaw quite often. Would have the results been different? I don't know. Derek Lewis is a comeback king. That's kind of what he does. But yeah, it was a little early. But if they're not going to run it back, I like the winner of Gontai. I know or the loser of Gontai, or maybe even the winner, because heavyweights kind of fluctuate now. You got Bones. Is he fighting Stipe? The winner going to fight Francis? Gon's looking to get back to Francis. Tai Tuivasa's on a nice little streak now. There's a lot to do. Pavlovich kind of odd man out, but he's going to be highly ranked now after the Derek Lewis dub. They're probably going to run him back with Lewis, but I would like to see the winner of Gontai to see who fights for the title, because if John beats Stipe, he's jumping the line. If Stipe wins, he's jumping the line, and we got Francis still out. So, yeah, and Gon just fought for the title. So if Gon wins, let's give him one more before we pop him back in with Francis. And I think Pavlovich could be that dog. And then Derek Lewis, if they're not going to run it back with Pavlovich, I'd love to see a Alexander Romanov fight, right? Big old Romanov, who people say we look alike. We have similar heads. Big boy Romanov, who everyone's high on, and they're like, he needs to make a step up. Well, that's a fucking step up right there, right? I think that is a smart fight for heavyweight, because Romanov, stand up, really choppy, really rough. Derek Lewis on the ground, he's been proven to just stand up, and Romanov is the Donkey Kong fucking smasher machine. Interesting fight there. I love that fight. And then Ankalaev, man, lot going on at 205. So King Yuri said, I want Glover. Even though he told Jan after Jan's performance, let's go. He's like, I think Glover is at an age now where if they run it in November, Glover, if he wins, it was such a competitive fight, very close fight. Glover wins in New York, which is kind of hometown, adopted hometown. Connecticut's very, very close. He can go out on top. If he loses, he can go out in his hometown. I think that makes the most sense. So Ankalaev is kind of in limbo. You fight Jan for the number one contender. That's what I think. I think there's no other matchups at 205. I mean, Jamal Hill's coming up this weekend. He could possibly slide in for some of them, but Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz, I think, has got to happen by the end of the year. I think that's the matchup for the true number one contender. And then Jamal Hill wins this weekend. He's kind of going to be flirting outside, looking in. Maybe he can step in if one of these guys falls out or what happens. But, yeah, you got to run Yuri Glover back, and then you got to go Ankalaev Jan. Boom. Figured it out. UFC, if you're watching this, I'm expensive because I'm matchmaking for you. I don't know what Sean Shelby or Mick Maynard's contracts are or what their salary is, but I'll take it because I'm doing your job for you right now. Okay, babe. And then the last one is Morono. Alex Morono, a guy. God damn, Alex Morono. I cannot get this guy right. I think at this point I can never pick him. I can't because I'm against him every time and he wins. So for his career and to be an Alex Morono cheerleader, I got to pick against him because every time he does, and I got to bet it because he shoves it up my fucking ass every time. Just fucking shoves it up there. The Leech. I think the Leech is a great matchup for Morono. I like that fight. Both guys are, Leech had a little falling off, looked great in his last fight. Give him Morono. That's going to be a fun fight. Again, UFC just did the job for you, baby. Boom. All right, next up, top 5. Top 5 gatekeepers in UFC history. Now, I try to keep this as current as I could. These are fighters who have never touched gold. I eliminated interim championships. I know people are going to have a weird feeling about, is interim real? Is it not real? Whatever. I eliminated that. So interim titles do not count in this situation. But so it's just people who were always the number one contender, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Number 5, Caitlin Chikagian. She's still active. She's still fighting. Yes, there's a possibility that she'll fight for the title again. Yes, there's a possibility that she could win the title if Shevchenko retires. Other than that, Chikagian, who, no disrespect to Chikagian, one of the best all-time female fighters. So go down UFC history as one of the best at 125. Just because active and beating everybody, whatever, but I just don't ever see him getting that gold. I'm sorry. Sorry, Chikagian. I like what you've done. You mixed up your camp. You're trying to sit on your punches. You look good your last fight, but I just don't see the gold. I'm sorry. Don't shoot me. Number 4, Anthony Smith. My guy. Return of the Mac. Best walkout MMA, in my opinion. Broke his goddamn ankle Saturday, but I don't know if he's going to win that fight. And Anthony Smith could have been champion. I applaud this guy's just everything about him, his just character, right? He got kneed in the head illegally by Jones and could have been like, I can't continue, gets the strap. They talked about on pay-per-view and gets a bunch of points, get a bunch of money. Didn't. Said, no, I'm good, right? If he couldn't continue, he wouldn't. This guy fought, broke his ankle in the first round, continued the fight and just, succumbed to it. And then Ankalaev is a fucking beast and overcame that, right? If I rolled my ankle, I ain't getting out of bed for 4 months, let alone finishing a fight. And he broke it. I'm just talking about rolling mine. Stud, absolute stud, but I just don't see him ever touching gold. He's right there now at his age where if you put some runs together, he could maybe fight for the title, but I just don't think he matches up well with Yuri. I think if Ankalaev has a belt, he ain't touching Ankalaev again. I just don't see it for my boy. And if he goes down to 185, that's too big of a weight cut. He's not touching Izzy. But that one hurts. Both these hurt because I like both these fighters. Number 3, a clear and obvious one, Edson Barboza. His prime, I think, is probably in the rearview mirror. He's fought everyone. He's been so close at 145 and 155, but homeboy just ain't going to get it. He ain't going to get it done. He ain't going to touch those titles. And he's an exciting fighter, and I hope he's getting a ton of money and getting paid good. Let's just keep getting paid. You're a prize fighter. Fight for the prize, my guy, because I think the title was in the rear view. Number 2, Alexander Gustafsson. Yeah, this was a weird one because I was going to have him at 3 and Barboza at 2, but Gus, when Gus was at light heavyweight with the John Jones thing, and everyone, when they first watched that first John Jones fight, they're like, oh my God, he won, which he did it, but he gave John a fight, which no one had seen before. And so everyone hyped him up. Then he got the Glover shot. Then he got the DC shot. Then he got, it just got the John Jones shot again. And they were really pushing this guy. Big star in Sweden, big star in Europe, great fighter in his prime. But now and before, clearly was never going to touch the title. This is kind of a different conversation because the first 3 I named were all active still and they have a possibility of doing it, but I don't think so. Gus maybe has one more in him, but yeah, he's not touching the title anytime soon in his career. He came close, but I mean, that's just a gatekeeper. He just couldn't get it done in number 1. Hurts my heart because I'm a fan of this guy, but Joseph Benavidez, Joey B. I mean, listen, he won in life because he's married to Megan O'Leary, who is adorably, amazingly hot, right? Style for my wife my wife watches UFC just to see what Megan wears. And we were right next to her at Columbus, and she's doing her little pre-fight, or when the guys are walking out, she's doing her little thing. And just cute as a button, right? So Joe B won in life by marrying her, but just couldn't get it. In the WEC, he ran Dom Cruz. In the UFC, he ran Dom Cruz. At 125, he ran Demetrius Johnson. At 125, he ran into Davison Figueroa. He just couldn't get it done. He came so close. There was a drawl in there, I believe. But yeah, Joey B, just a number one gatekeeper in the UFC. And this dates back to the WEC as well. So that's my top 5. Hit the comments up if I forgot anybody. If you disagree, whatever, let's talk about it. Honorable mentions, Uriah Faber. Now, Uriah Faber was a champion in the WEC, right? Big time champion, beat Dominic Cruz, whatever, 145. In the UFC, I feel like all he did was get title shots and he just never came up. Dom Cruz twice. Who else? I mean, he fought Aldo in the WEC. It was whatever. At one, it just couldn't get it done. Uriah Faber just could not get it done. But and then another one, Dan Henderson, another one that kind of sneaks up on your honorable mention because Dan Henderson won a title everywhere. Double champ in Pride, Strikeforce champion, never won the UFC belt. He ain't never won it. He came into the UFC strapped up, fought Rampage, lost, fought Anderson Silva, lost, and then just had a bunch of fun fights. He was kind of old when he came to the UFC anyway, but just kind of had some fun fights. So those are my honorable mentions. That's my top 5. I don't think anyone's going to come up with anybody better. I listed weird records last week for my little fun little debate topic thing. Someone hit me with Joe Riggs has a win over Herb Dean. That's a fucking, Herb Dean used to fight with a t-shirt on. That's a fucking great one. So tell me who I missed on the Gatekeepers, but challenge. I don't think you can find them. Quick takes. I got 2 things here before we get to the Twitter questions, the trivia for the old brain here. Bo Nickal is fighting next week on the Contender Series. Now, I am high in this guy. There's something about him, right? He's 1-0. He's doing things right. He went to the amateur route, and then he debuted. Now, he's fought no one. He's fought dump truck drivers. He's probably fought a coworker of mine for all the fuck I know. But he's one of the best wrestlers that's ever transitioned over MMA. Olympic wrestler, 3-time national champion at Penn State. And I am not, my foot isn't firmly in the door of obviously collegiate wrestling. I do pay attention a lot to the Olympics because I want those guys to come over here. A lot of those guys like Gable Stevenson, he's getting stolen by the WWE. I want guys to come over here. I got to imagine Bo Nickal, who's built different. He's a taller, lankier guy. He wrestled for a while, and I thought maybe we're going to get him stolen by a Bellator, by a WWE or something like that. So he goes and fights amateur, which he doesn't have to do. He lines himself with American Top Team, joins, got some MMA experience with Masvidal, opened up his own American Top Team in Pennsylvania, Death Valley, which is where Penn State's at, and takes 2 or 3 amateur fights, then 1 pro fight, gets this deal here. You got to imagine PFL Bellator is interested in this guy. Now, this to me, people were like, "Oh, this is too early." Dana's only bringing him in because all that shit, whatever. I've seen it, but to me, this is way better than a CM Punk. I didn't care if CM Punk was coming to the UFC. I know CM Punk's a huge star, and he's a wrestler, and he's actor or whatever. He's giant, right? People loved it. People love coming to him. But I didn't care. I care about this. Bo Nickal. I think, and I saw him before I even knew he used to do MMA. Before I even see him throw a punch. Just his build and his personality, I'm like, I think I'm getting the googly eyes and going, I think this guy can do it at MMA. And then he made the transition to MMA. He said, hey, I'm going to do MMA. He had a grappling match with Gordon Ryan, which he lost. Gordon Ryan, best grappler in the world, but he held his own pretty well, considering he said, I only trained jiu-jitsu for a month for that, right? His wrestling's that good. Now he's obviously learning striking. He's going southpaw. He's lanky. He's a ton to learn. Still very green. But that wrestling credential, and I think his mindset to win, I think it's special. There's fucking kids yelling, man. I got to get a soundproof room. What are we doing here? I sound like Joey Diaz here. What are we doing here? But yeah, Bo Nickal, August 9th. I'm going to be glued to my TV. Fighting, I think, a 3-0 guy or 3-1 guy. Someone put up a video of his opponent getting just absolutely starched I don't know if it was his pro or amateur. I mean, got completely knocked out. So I think UFC's maybe doing him a favor or two here, but they need to. And I hope Dana doesn't go, he's still young, we'll bring him back. Or you got to sign this guy. Please sign him. Obviously, if he wins and he looks good, you got to sign him. He goes out there and looks shit. I don't think it's going to happen, but, he'll bounce back. But listen, here's my bet for you, okay? And the only thing that, if he has to, he can't retire early from injury or whatever. Like, he has to have a full career. But if Bo Nickal doesn't make the top 5 in the UFC at middleweight or 205, but he could do both. But right now, I believe he's fighting at 185. If Bo Nickal doesn't crack the top 5 before the end of his career, your boy will get a unicorn, colorful, sparkly unicorn tattooed on my ass. Okay? That's a promise. That's a bet. I think Bo Nickal is going to crack the top 5. Actually, I wasn't going to say champion or anything because you can't predict who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. And I got to see a lot more of them. But like right now, I like what I see. And when have you ever seen me talk about a guy in the Contender Series coming up? I'm all in on Mr. Nickal here. I've actually DM'd him a few times to try to get him on the podcast, which I don't do interviews. He ignored it, but or not, maybe not ignored it. He ignored it. He doesn't respond. But I like the guy. I like the guy a lot. All right, last little thing here before we get to the Twitter questions. Jake Paul, fight canceled over weight. Nah, bruh. That fight got canceled. A lot of people on Twitter are saying it. The ticket sales. You're in New York City. MSG is so expensive. Traveling, hotels, everything's so expensive in New York City to put on a fight. You lost the Tommy Fury fight. You got the Rockman fight. Wasn't selling well. Wasn't moving tickets. Trending wasn't doing well. So you have this weight thing, right? I know Rockman, a little unprofessional, saying, hey, I know he took it on short notice. Let's come in at 205. Jake Paul's like, I only fight under 2. I only fight at 190. Jake Paul's a big, thick kid. He walks around about 220. I guarantee it. So he says he fights at 190 or whatever. He was going to accept 200, 205 or whatever, and then it just didn't happen. I get it. You're the A side. You're not going to stipulate how we're doing, but if it was selling tickets, if this was like the biggest fight in the year and people were clamoring for it, they would have never canceled this. It's canceled because no one gave a shit about it. People are starting to see through the wolf tickets and starting to see through the smoke screens that Jake Paul is as good as his opponents are. People want to see him fight people that they know. Hasim Rahman Jr., no one knows. I only know him. I'm about 50% into boxing, maybe 40%. I know Rahman. Obviously, I knew his dad, Hasim Rahman. And I knew him the first time I saw him. I believe it was a UFC, HBO 24/7 or Showtime All Access on Floyd Mayweather. And he used to have like the dog yard or junkyard or something where he would put fighters in and they would go 20-minute rounds sometimes, 10-minute rounds. And it was just whoever quit, right? And they would just do hardcore sparring. So Hasim Rahman Jr. had a little brother. His little brother was like 16 at the time. Boxed some guy up, some dude from England. Dude from England beat him up. Hasim Rahman Sr. shows up to the gym, Junior shows up to the gym and says, you got to box me, box the kid, let's box. They go and box and Rahman wins. Like the guy was just gassed at the end of it, right? He ended up outlasting him. And then, Jake Paul starting partner. But then when he booked Paul, I went and go, I wonder what happened to that guy because I remember him on the thing. And I look him up 12-1. He's 31. He's 12-1. He's fought one real guy and he got knocked out and that was his last fight. So, I mean, it's just no one knows him. If a guy like me who's 40% into boxing and I have a weird memory and I remembered that, but I didn't know anything about his boxing record, how do you think Jake Paul's fans, who aren't even really fight fans, how is that going to sell tickets? They think if they put Jake Paul's name on anything, it'll sell. It doesn't. And this is proof of that. So you got to match him up with the right opponent. Tommy Fury, there's beef. Tyson Fury's name's attached. He's a big star in England. I get it. But it is what it is. It is what it is, baby. As Max, my dear friend, Max Hollywood say, all right, let's get to these motherfucking My boy Timbo just texted me, Connor has a leading role in the Roadhouse remake. So they're remaking Roadhouse. If you guys know, that's my favorite movie of all time. The Pick'em podcast ends, or it used to end with the Roadhouse thing. So Jake Gyllenhaal is supposed to be Swayze. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. I think he's good in Prisoners. I think he's good in Nightcrawler. Really good in Nightcrawler. He's just not Swayze. I don't know who you could be Swayze. It's just not Gyllenhaal. So apparently Connor's going to have a role, according to my guy Timbo. So anyway, get back to get back to the old, Twitter here. So I asked you boys, and this is the beautiful thing, boys and girls. I sent out a tweet, and it's the most amazing thing in the world, because I used to do this when I had like 200 followers and no one would hit me up. I love the interaction. I love that I can do this. Hit me up with some of your trivia questions. And boy, did you guys ever. I haven't really read any of them. A couple of them did. I liked them. And then I'm going to screenshot them after I read them to post them in the video so you guys can see them. And then I did on Instagram, and Instagram people hit me up too. The only one I read was from my guy Timbo. Timbo, I'll read that one first, because I was like, why is Timbo DMing me? He's like, I was like, excuse me. I was like, what does my guy got to say here? So one from the champ, that's him. And I read this already, and I don't know the answer. And it is incredibly hard. So again, the way this is going to go, I'm just going to answer. I'm not looking anything up. I'm not searching the answers. I don't have a producer. I don't know the answers. I'm going to answer the questions if I know them, assuming I know them, or I'm going to give up or whatever. Hammer in the comments if I'm right, wrong, whatever. Keep tally, whatever it is, because I said whoever stumps me, I'm going to keep track of that, and then I'm going to pick a winner, and I'm going to send someone a shirt. I just sent someone a shirt the other day. Not one of these. These are old shirts, but I'll fire you off a shirt. So this is from the champ, and I don't know these, so he stumped me, so I owe him a shirt. Who has the shortest average fight time of all time in the UFC, with a minimum of at least 5 fights? My first guess was Francis, but he's been in decision twice, so it can't be Francis. I really don't know that one. Another one. Who has the highest significant strike accuracy in UFC history? Also minimum 5 fights and at least 350 significant strikes thrown. And he said, consider yourself stumped. Yeah, stumped. Stumped, because those are tough. I was looking for where's Conor McGregor from? I'm looking for the easy shit. This guy hits me with some crazy weird stuff. So shortest average fight time in the UFC, my guess is Francis. I have no idea. I'll have to chew on that a little minute. I don't know. And then the highest significant strike accuracy in the UFC history. Honestly, I want to say Conor, because Conor doesn't miss much. But minimal 5 fights, at least 153 strikes. That could also be Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz throws a lot of fucking strikes. He's pretty accurate. He lands. I don't know. Timbo stumped me. All right, so let's go to Twitter first, then we'll go to IG. Thank you for IG people. Hit me up as well. So, first trivia question. Again, the way it's going to work, haven't read them yet. I'm going to answer them on the fly. If I don't know, answer in the comments. I'm not looking anything up or whatever like that. Honor system. So my guy, Dim Trady at Trinconito. Name the first for the Joe's first UFC event worked for. Okay, so first UFC event worked for Joe Rogan. I don't know that one. I think it's obviously early. I think he's talked about being in Alabama where they used to do fights. I don't know. That's kind of an easier one, I feel like. I feel like people should know that. Or more people will know that. I don't know the first fight he worked at. I don't know the first fight he commentated on either. Because I know he worked as a reporter first, like in the back, interviewing people. And then he got moved to the booth. But I don't know when that happened. First tough winner named Joe Stevenson. Season 2, baby. Joe Stevenson won season 2. The first one was Forrest Griffin, and then you had Diego Sanchez. Second season was Joe Stevenson, beat Luke Kumo and Rashad Evans. So yeah, Joe Stevenson, first UFC tough winner, Joe Stevenson. Who did Joe Lozon beat in his UFC debut? This is a good one. This is Jens Pulver. He was a huge underdog fighting Jens. Jens returned to the UFC. Joe Lozon knocked him out in the first round. I don't know if it was the first minute, but the first round, left hook, boom. And then this was weird because UFC they had weird contracts back then because he was just a one-fight deal. And then they brought him back to go on the Ultimate Fighter, and he was the heavy favorite to win. He obviously did not. In which Joe lost a split decision to an inaugural title fight. Joe lost a split decision to an inaugural title fight. Man, so inaugural title fight, obviously the belt didn't exist. I'm not thinking of it. I don't think I know that one. I struggle with some of the, if that's like an early UFC one, I struggle because Dominic Cruz debuted. Those guys came over to the WC and had the 35, 45 pound. Jose Aldo Josie Aldo. I don't know that one. That's a good one. I got 2 out of however many you asked. Good question. I think he's got another one. Here we go. Trigger Incognito. Starts easy. How many UFC champs are from the great state of Ohio? Woo! Okay. So you got Rich Franklin, Cincinnati, Ohio. Beautiful. Stipe from Cleveland. You got Cody Garbrandt from Cleveland area. You got Mark Coleman, who was a UFC champ as well. He's from Columbus. Kevin Randleman, 5. He's from Ohio. He won it. And then he lost it to that really bullshit decision over Bas Rutten. Oh, man. Fuck. I think that's 5. I'm going to say 5. Am I forgetting any Ohioans? Okay, so take that number and multiply it by the number of times GSP defended his 170-pound belt. Oof, I don't know that one. I'm going to say GSP defended his 170-pound belt. Fuck, man. So he lost it to Sarah, right? Is this consecutive defenses? Because he won it, then lost it. You know what I mean? What were we talking? I'm going to say 11. So 11 times 5 is 55. Multiply that number by victories Brock Lesnar had before winning the title. Okay. This guy's good. Okay. Number of Brock Lesnar fights before winning the title. So he fought Frank Mir. He fought Heath Herring, right? Frank Mir, Heath Herring. Then I think he got a title shot. So 2 fights times that by 2, that's 55. So that's what? 110, right? 110. Subtract the season number of the Black Zillions versus AT&T on top. I don't know which that was. I'm going to say that one was 21. So 105 minus 21, you're looking at 80. Wait, what are you looking at? 80. I don't know. Fuck. I got to pull out the calculator. Subtraction. 110, excuse me. 110 minus 21. So 89 is what I'm going with. That's my number right there. Tell me if I'm right. That's no way that's right. I'm going with 89. All right, next up, Money in the Bank. Nigel, my guy Nigel, who I sent a shirt to. Who has the most wins in Pride history? Woo! Fuck. Gotta be Vanderlei Silva, maybe. Fedor might be up there. Fedor never lost in Pride. It's either Fedor or Vanderlei. I gotta think. I don't think it's Sakuraba. I don't think it's Hickson. It's gotta be Vanderlei. It could be the Nog brothers, but no, because I mean the Nogs they got knocked around a little bit too. My guess is Fedor and or Vanderlei Silva, Nigel. That was a good question. D, at D Chanley, first tough champion to become UFC champion. I believe that was Forrest Griffin, right? Forrest Griffin won it the first time, and then he beat Rampage at UFC 86. See, that's the trivia I know. He beat Rampage at UFC 86 by a decision, and then he lost it to Rashad Evans at UFC 92. Got TKO by Rashad Evans. So I think it's Forrest Griffin. Diego didn't win the title. Joe Stevenson didn't win the title. He fought for the title of UFC 80, but BJ Penn butchered him. Rashad won it, but won it over Forrest. Bisping didn't win it 2 years later. Yeah, I'm gonna go Forrest Griffin. He was the first tough champion to become UFC champion. I'm gonna go Forrest Griffin. Tim Willett at TG_G_M_3. Who did Teddy Ferguson beat in the finale of Tough 13, and who was his coach? His coach was Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar turns chicken shit and chicken salad. Or chicken salad. Yeah, chicken shit and chicken salad because they all got offended by it. And he beat Ramsey Ninja in the finals at 170. Ramsey Ninja was also referred to as Stripper Ramsey because the guy got naked all the time in the house. One of my favorite seasons of Tough. It was an underrated season for sure. Tony getting drunk and telling that guy, like, where's your kid? After the guy, like, confided in him about how he's having custody troubles. That's fucked up, Tony. Tony, that's fucked up, man. My knee, your face for $7.99. Well, it's at 8-foot knee. Why was Hoist chosen to represent the Gracies at UFC 1? See, the UFC early stuff I struggle with because I didn't start really watching. First pay-per-view I ever watched was UFC 40. I went back and watched a lot of them, but these are tough. But I believe Hoist was chosen, and correct me if I'm wrong, because they wanted to represent jiu-jitsu and he was like the smaller guy. So they want to prove that, hey, this smaller guy can take on all these big guys and our shit works. Also, I think they said he had like a really good guard too. He had like one of the better guards. So get it down, submit guys, and that's what he did. I know Big John McCartney was going to be representing the Gracie family, but they wanted to be an actual Gracie. I believe I'm remembering that again. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's why it was. All right, next up, Al is fan 954. How old was John Jones when he first became the UFC champ? Now this got spoiled. Someone commented it, 23, and I believe that's the correct answer. I was going to say 22, 23. I think it's 23. Someone commented on that. I did see that. He was 23. Same guy, Al fan 954. Who was the first fighter to beat George St. Pierre? I believe it was Matt Hughes at UFC 50, 51. It was an armbar, last second, first round armbar. I think he was the first one that beat GSP was Matt Hughes by armbar. GSP came in highly touted from Canada. Was dominating guys that were in Canada. I believe Matt Hughes armbar first round like a second ago. Slick armbar by Hughesy too. All right, next up, Charlie Brady. Whatever happened to the Fight Island 007 duffel bag that was smuggled into the bubble, and what was it in the fucking bag? So that was the last from Twitter. So I believe that was Ottoman Azar. He got cut, got brought back. I don't know. Like my first guess was steroids. My second guess was porn. I don't know if you're allowed watching porn in the Middle East. I think I've never been there, but I don't know if you can. I think it might be illegal. So I think the guy just wanted to jerk off. You know what I mean? He's fighting. He's like, listen, I got to get these demons out. My weight cut's over. My dick's working better. I need to fucking jerk off. I'm going to say porn, but I don't know. That's a really good trivia question. If you know the answer, because I think they said it was like food or something. That's bullshit. It was steroids. It was porn. It might have been a really small prostitute that could fold up in bags because the guy scaled the building or whatever. Why are you scaling the building if you're bringing in food? It had to have been drugs or ladies or porn or something because I think porn might be illegal over there. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I heard that secondhand. I don't know. Again, I didn't do any research. All right. On Instagram now, you Instagram boys and girls killed it. Cal Graham on Instagram. 2 opponents of Frank Mir that have broken limbs afterwards. Good question. I know this. It's Tim Sylvia, UFC 48, baby. Tim Sylvia's forearm snap. Pop, pop. And then it was Nogueira. He popped Nogueira's elbow in a really nasty Kimura. Absolutely fucking dreadful. I remember watching the Nogueira one. That one was worse to me than the Tim Sylvia one. Tim Sylvia kept trying to fight. Our boy, I don't know how to pronounce your name, brother. Doherty, Ciaran Doherty. You're a loyal listener. You will watch this. Please tell me how to phonetically pronounce your name. He stumped me, right? And he said, I stumped you, don't cap. What was the fourth prelim in UFC 157? I have no idea. That's a great question. I don't know. That was almost as hard as fucking Tim's. I don't know what the fourth prelim was on UFC 157. Coffee Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Who was the Who was the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion worlds who has the most wins in the UFC with the world's BJJ champion? I don't know this answer. I'm not very well versed in the Jiu-Jitsu game. I know BJ Penn. There's a lot of competitions in Jiu-Jitsu. BJ Penn, I know, was acclaimed because he was the first American to win, but I don't think that was worlds. I don't know if Damian Maia was a world's champion because he's obviously going to probably have the most wins. His jiu-jitsu was very, very slick. I know it's not Hoist. Hoist never, he never really competed like that in jiu-jitsu. When he started fighting, Man, my guess is going to be Damian Maia, but I don't know. That's a really good one. Coffee Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know that one. My guess is Damian Maia though. But again, I know he was a champion somewhere. I don't know if he's a world's champion. I know you got like Rodolfo Rivera and you got guys like that. Again, I don't even know if they're world's champions in Brazil, like a champion in Brazil, because there's so many of those tournaments and stuff they do. I just don't know. All right, Anthony Douglas, at the Anthony Douglas. Who did Mark Coleman beat in the finals UFC 10? Again, not good with the early stuff, but I do know the answer to this. He beat, because I remember watching it over and over again, he beat Don Fry. Mustache Don Fry. Beat the shit out of Don Fry pretty bad. Because I remember I was a Tank Abbott fan, and Don Fry beat Tank Abbott. And I remember thinking, like, this guy just gets hit way too much. Why is he good? It's because he's tough as nails, Brian. It's because he's got the fucking mustache, Brian. But yeah, Mark Coleman beat the shit out of Don Fry. Whenever I think of Mark Coleman, though, I think of his losses. I think of the Pete Williams head kick knockout. Pete Williams had shoes on, just straight fucking knocked him out. Marco Huas chopped him down with kicks. Yeah, but Mark Coleman beat, to become champion, he beat Don Fry, UFC 10. Guy Whelan Guy Wendon at Guy Wendon. Here's a cracker. Who wrote the UFC pay-per-view theme song? God, I don't know. Are we talking? Oh wait, are we talking the old school fucking the screaming heavy metal? I don't know. Disturbed. I don't know who did that. Are we talking the Gladiator with the? Oh, are we talking the new one? I either way, whatever one we're talking about, I have no fucking idea. That's another really good crack. That was a cracker one. I don't know. You stumped me on that one. We already got Tim. He stumped me. This is from Tame. Who are the two UFC fighters who hit calf sliders? Very, very good here. That's a good one. I don't know if I know this. I think Oliveira. Did Oliveira get submitted by a calf slicer by Jim Miller, or did he hit one? I want to say Oliveira. And I think I have the other one, but I don't have it. Like I can think of it. I think it's Brett Johns. Didn't Brett Johns hit a calf slicer? I don't know. You stumped me. I don't know. Hopefully I got one of those right. I think Oliveira was involved in one of them. I could be wrong. But either way, I got it wrong. You stumped me, Tame. You're in the running for a shirt. Nice question. John Friend, who has the highest takedown accuracy in the UFC? Currently or history? History, I got to imagine it's GSP, right? And currently, I got to think, I was going to say Curtis Blades. I think he's just the heavyweight at highest accuracy. Like if Khabib could be up there, I don't know. John Friend, beers with John. I want to have a beer with you. That was a good question. I don't know. My guess is going to be GSP in history, right? Accuracy in UFC history. My guess is GSP. Sorry, I misread the question. GSP. UFC history, GSP. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I mean, Mark Holm used to take people down all the time. GSP's got some really good takedowns. Matt Hughes back in the day as well. Kevin Randleman as well. Guys I've already mentioned. I'm just want to keep thinking of who else had really good takedowns back in the day. Matt Hughes took everyone down. Sean Sherk took a lot of people down. But I mean, GSP, its accuracy too. Like GSP, if he tried to take you down, he didn't really fucking miss, man. So I'm gonna go GSP, but I truly don't know. John Friend again. JS Friend. Might be the same guy. He just doubled up with questions. Who was the first fighter to win via armbar? UFC fighter win by armbar. I mean, I gotta imagine Hoist, right? Was it not Hoist? Hoist used to triangle people. I know he armbarred at least one guy. Was he not the first one? My guess is Hoist, but I don't know. I think that might be it. Yeah, that's it. Amazing. So see how I did. Hammer the comments to see if I did. See if you did better or whatever. We're about an hour. Should I do story time? It's a fucking doozy. All right, we're going to do story time. I'll try to keep it brief. All right. Finish strong here with story time. You guys like it. Last week was a doozy. My best fighting story week before that was a little dark. Almost went dark with this one. This one's a little, I mean, it's not dark, but it's a wild one. It's a wild one. Anyway, so 22 years old, same year. This happened before the fights. I lived in a town in Cheviot in Cincinnati with two of my buddies. And we had a buddy of ours who I used to live with a year prior to that who owned a bar right up the street. I mean, not right up the street, but up the street. And we go there every weekend, just drinking. And this is prime 22-year-old Brian. This is drinking Brian. And I was a single man, right? I was on vacation all week. It was Saturday night. I'm like, I'm going to cut loose. I'm going to find me a chick, right? Single Brian, whatever. And again, even though I'm in my drinking prime, I am not a heavy drinker. I'm not now. I haven't had a beer in 2-3 years. Not because I have a problem. It's because I just don't want it. My body refuses it at this point. But again, 22-year-old prime Brian, we're doing it, right? So we go to this bar all the time, hang out, and then Saturday night I'm ready to cut loose. Now there's a guy that hangs out at this bar who I grew up with his younger brother. He's there all the time. He's friendly with everyone. He would buy everyone shots, right? Spent a ton of money. People liked him. He played cornhole. Nice guy. Really small guy, but a super nice guy, right? And I remember he would always be the drunkest guy at the bar, just everywhere. But, he kind of kept it together a little bit. Smelled like shit a little bit. Smelled like he puked every fucking 5 seconds. Shit his pants probably. But a nice guy. Like a little bit older than me, but, whatever. And I remember the only really interaction I had with him besides him buying me shots and us high-fiving or whatever is me and my buddies were sitting at a table and he goes, hey, check this out. And he goes over to this girl who's sitting at a bar and she was probably like 3.5, 350, big broad, right? Big gal, no problem. Who cares? And he grabs her hair and he pulls her back and starts making out with her. Now, my first instinct, and their tongues and spit and shit. And again, he probably just puked, definitely fresh shit in his pants. And they're going after it. And I'm like, oh my God, he's fun. You can't do that. You can't do that to that girl. Like, what the fuck? And my buddy goes, that's his lady. That's his lady. He was just showing off. So it was his girlfriend, right? Okay, cool. So anyway, go Saturday night with my buddy. I'm throwing my buddy on the bus. Really good friend of mine. I don't think he watches this. He goes, hey, he's got a chick, right? I'm single. I want to go meet some ladies. He goes, hey, I'll take you. I'm going to have 1 or 2 beers and we'll go back to your place and sleep. Cool. I'm getting sloshed. He leaves. Irish goodbye, right? Doesn't say anything to me. I'm stranded, right? Now, at this point, I'm like 6 Long Island deep, and that is enough to put me over very drunk, right? And none of the girls are feeling my flavor. I was throwing them out there, and no fishes hooked the line. They just weren't feeling my flavor. So my buddy, who was my roommate at the time, who lived in the same house as me, he was bartending, and he goes, hey, I'll take you home when I'm done. And at this point, it's like 2 a.m., 1:30. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking cooked to the bone. I want to walk home. And it's like probably over a half mile. It's not the easiest walk. It's not like right down the street. And he goes, just hang out for me. I just got to clean up a little bit. I was like, nah, I'm going to walk home. I'm impatient. So the drunk guy, who's always there, who I don't know all that well, is with the girl, made out the fat, I don't want to say fat, the larger woman. He goes, I'll walk you home. I live right by you. I was like, okay, cool. So we walk home. I don't remember really what set her in the walk home. Again, I knew his brother, so maybe it was about his brother or whatever. I just remember just trying not to throw up, trying not to collapse. I mean, I'm done, right? So we get to the house. I walk in. I was like, hey, this is me. See ya. I go in, I just face plant on the couch. And I don't fully close the door behind me. Or no, I close the door behind me. I don't lock it. But I face plant on the couch. And all I'm doing is, I'm not sleeping or anything. I'm just trying to get enough energy to walk up the fucking stairs. So my roommate, who's the bartender, he finally shows up. So I should have just waited for him, right? He shows up. But the guy that walked me home, I don't know why he walked me home. I mean, he's fucking tiny. He was at the front door. And my buddy goes up. I was like, Joe, I don't want to say his name. I'm going to bleep that out. He goes, what are you doing here? And he goes, oh, yeah, I walked Peachy home or whatever. I said, oh, yeah, cool. So my buddy comes in. He's had a long day. It's 2:30 in the morning. He wants to get out of his clothes and go to bed. So he gets followed in by this guy. And I'm still on the couch. He walks by me, and my buddy literally is just taking his clothes off, gets in his underwear, goes and takes a piss. He's got a bunch of tattoos on his back. And this dude's just like watching him pee, reading his tattoos. And I'm like on the couch going, that's fucking weird, whatever. But they know each other better than I know this guy. So I finally get enough enough fucking energy to go upstairs. Get in my room. Another roommate is across the hall from me in his room. He's sound asleep. And I have to put a laundry bin in front of my door because the door didn't close. It was an older house. Door didn't close otherwise. So I put the laundry bin, fire the fan on, go to sleep. Or not really go to sleep. I just kind of fall into bed, right? I'm in my underwear. And I just remember thinking about just being so thirsty. All I wanted was a drink. Like, God damn, I could really use a drink right now. Water, whatever. And I'm like sitting there going, okay, wait 2 minutes and go get some water. Wait 2 minutes and get some water. And the next thing I know, someone slides in the bed with me and sticks their, like right when they slide in the bed, they stick their hands down my pants. They get the base of my cock. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I throw an elbow like this right into the chest. It's the guy that followed me home. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? And at this point, you know me, right? Or you don't know me, but I've told you, I'm Mr. Tough Guy. I've been in a lot of fights. I've instigated a lot of fights. No, I saw a boogeyman. I get up and run away. I'm still drunk as shit. Tackle the fan like I'm fucking Ray Lewis. Break this beautiful tower fan, get up, bounce into my desk, put a huge hole into my wall, fall down my steps, essentially, run in my buddy's room who's on the main floor and go, dude, I just grabbed my dick. And he's like, what? He's in bed petting his dog like an evil villain. What? And I get into bed with him. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm freaking out. Like I couldn't handle it because I'm drunk. Meanwhile, my buddy Austin, who is the most passive person in the world, is in the hallway across from me, right? He wakes up. We hear a commotion upstairs. He wakes up. This guy's standing over his bed with his phone out. And my buddy asks, what the fuck are you doing in here? And he goes, oh, I'm trying to find my phone. You got a phone in your hand? No, my other phone. He's like, get the fuck out of here. So he leaves. So Austin comes down into our room and goes, what the fuck is he doing here? And I explain it to him. He goes, what? Me and my buddy are in my bed like a ghost is in the house. Like I'm such a coward. I'm so scared and frightened at the fact that I almost was raped. If I was like dead asleep or like fucking like, you know, like what women got to deal with, like date rape drug, my asshole would have not been as clean or pure as it is now. I can tell you that. I would have been fucking raped. So I'm shook, right? Mr. Tough Guy's gone. I'm scared to death. And Austin, again, the nicest, passless guy in the world, just goes, this is fucking weird. So then he walks to the bathroom, and as he walks by the bathroom, he notices that our basement door, which was always shut and locked, because if you didn't lock it, it wouldn't shut, was open. So he opens the door. This guy's sitting on the top step, like texting on his phone. And Austin goes, you gotta go, man. What are you doing? And he goes, I thought this was how you leave. And he goes, this is the basement. Get the fuck out of here. So he gets up and goes, and me and Dirty, my buddy Dirty, I shouldn't say his name, but Dirty is what we call him. We're looking out the window. Like, is he gone yet? Because for all we know, he's texting people to come over for the gangbang. Hey, I got a drunk guy passed out. Let's go blast off in his ass. I don't know. I'm still shook. But then finally, as he hasn't left yet, we haven't seen him get off our porch. Finally, I started being Mr. Tough Guy again. I go, you know what? Fuck this guy. Like, he's this big. I'll go throw him goddamn through the goddamn street. Who cares? Why am I so shook right now? I don't know who he's texting. Let's just go. And as I say that, he literally sprints off our porch and just sprints down the street. Turns to find out he lives nowhere near where we lived at. He lived in the area, but nowhere near where he lived at. So I was telling the story to all the guys that go to the bar, and he hadn't shown up in a while. And they're like, no way. Dude, he was probably so drunk. He thought you were a chick, all these excuses. I'm like, this dude came into my room, thought I was passed out, and wanted some cock. There's no way he's sticking his hands down my pants. He's not thinking I'm a chick. He's trying to fucking get some dick. That's what it was. This dude, don't know if he's gay. Don't care that he's gay. Who cares? You're gay. Cool. Just don't try to rape people. And so he didn't come around for a while. And then I actually moved out and stopped going there or whatever. And then my buddy who owns the bar was still kind of like, man, this guy comes in all the time. I don't know. He's got a girlfriend. I mean, yeah, who cares? He got a girlfriend, whatever. Elton John was married. And he called me up one night, maybe a month or two after, where there was this gay guy, very well-known gay guy in the bar. And they're outside, and the gay guy's talking to my buddy and goes, hey, I know that guy. And he points to the guy we were talking about who's playing pool. And my buddy's like, oh, yeah, how do you know him? And he goes, oh, I fucked him last week. And my buddy called me up like, yep, dude, I don't think it was a mistake. I was like, yeah, no shit, it wasn't a mistake. So listen, if you're going to be gay, straight, whatever, just don't sexually assault people, because it's just not good. But, I was a complete coward. I ran away, handled it horribly. And a couple of my buddies confronted him. He said he doesn't remember it. I've never talked to him. I've never confronted him. I've never dealt with him before. After that, I was like, I'm just going to avoid this guy altogether. I want no part of this. All right. That's it. Wednesday Takes. Sorry we went long here. An hour 8. Golly. The trivia was awesome. You guys are awesome. Comment in the description how right, how wrong, whatever. I'll tally up whoever I got right, got wrong. Put your name in the hat. Boop. Get a shirt. And I'll DM you and get your size and location and all that stuff like that. So that's it. That's the MMA Takes Wednesday Take show. It was a good one, and I'm excited about it. Tomorrow, pick'ems right here on this channel. Still March to 1K. Let's go, baby.